In this series of videos, we'll go through the call center case study. So the basic premise is that we work for a bank and we work for a call center inside the bank. And like any decent or respectable bank, we have a bunch of clients. So whenever a client has a complaint or they want to find something out about our products, they would typically call the bank using their cell phone. So this call will then get to the bank, and the bank will then put it through to the call center where we are working. And then an agent will take the call, and the agent will assist the client with whatever they are busy with. Okay, so let's say this is our current setup. We have a bunch of clients. We have two call center agents, and one is busy helping that client, and then another client decides, oh, I also want to phone in. So the client takes his phone in, that gets assigned to the second call agent, and then that call agent helps the client. Okay, so this is all good and well. But again, we have a bunch of clients, so somewhere along the line, the other guys also decide, you know what, we want to phone the bank and find stuff out. So now we have a problem because both our call agents are occupied. The result of that is that all those calls from the other clients are being put on hold, and they're listening to that terrible elevator music, saying, please wait for the next available agent. Okay, so this can carry on and on and on, so time goes by, and eventually these guys that are waiting are starting to going to get a bit ticked off that nobody's taking their call. If it gets really bad, they could decide, you know what, screw this bank, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to another bank. So as a bank, this is a problem, and since we're in control of that call center, this is ultimately our responsibility. This is our problem, so we're not performing very well, and customers are actually leaving the bank. So one remedy as customers, or not as customers, the call agent is, let's say instead of having two call agents, let's just hire a bunch of them. In this case, we have about eight call agents. Then we should be able to deal with the volume of calls that we're getting from all our clients. So again, same situation might happen. Two clients call in, and then they get assigned to the first available call agents. Okay, so then another client decides he has to phone in, and then he speaks to the next available agent, which is over there. Okay, so after a while, these three guys are happy. They've gotten right by the call agents, and now the call agents are waiting for the next call. So then two more customers phone in. They get assigned to the first available call agents. Okay, then they're happy. Okay, then another two customers phone in, and they get assigned to two call agents. Okay, and this can carry on and on and on and on. The only problem that we have now is that a bunch of our agents that we just brought in aren't being used. So they're basically falling asleep at work because they're not doing anything. Okay, so the trick is, and the one that we want to answer in this case study, is we need to figure out how many call agents do we actually need based on the amount of clients that we have and the amount of calls that they actually make to the bank. Okay, so we need to find that balance as industrial engineers between keeping our clients happy, they're in the middle, by not letting them wait too long for calls, but we also don't want to overspend. So we have to balance keeping our clients happy and the amount of money that we're actually spending keeping them happy. Okay, so we want to find that perfect balance so that our clients are happy, they're being helped by our helpful agents, and we're not overspending on agents. So we're sort of hiring the minimum amount of agents that we actually need to keep our clients fairly happy. So the question that we as industrial engineers are going to answer is, how many call agents do we actually need? Okay, so there are some guidelines available. We don't have to start from scratch. So management has told us that from past experience, they found that for every 5 calls that come in during a day, they need about 1 agent. So there has to be a ratio of about 1 agent per 5 calls that they expect per day. So this is based on past experience. So for the purpose of this case study, we're going to assume that's true. That's the case. If you can get that ratio right, if you can have 1 agent per 5 calls, then everybody will be happy. So we don't want to hire more than that. Then we're going to waste money. If we have less than that ratio, then our clients are going to get sad, and then they're going to leave us. So this is the ratio that we're going to try and keep when we actually decide how many agents we want to hire. So if instead of 5, let's say we have 10 clients, based on that 5-to-1 ratio, we know we will then need 2 call agents to take the calls of those 10 customers that are actually phoning in. Okay, so now what complicates this just a little bit is that we don't actually know quite when clients are going to phone in. So if we knew for certain that every client is going to phone in every day, then it would be straightforward, but we don't actually know. So on one day, 4 clients might phone in. So our one agent is actually enough. Our second agent is going to fall asleep. Second day, only three clients might phone in. So again, we have a sleeping agent. Then same on day 3, only 5 calls. Again, we have a sleeping agent. And then day 4, okay, we finally got 7 calls. So now we're actually using both agents. So the tricky part is that we can easily see how many clients we have, but that doesn't really guarantee that every client will phone in every day. So we need to find a way to actually see, but how many phone calls can we expect given that we have a certain amount of clients? And once we have that number, then we can actually move on and see, okay, how many staff do we need to keep that 5-to-1 client ratio? So to answer that question about how many call agents we need, we're going to have to answer this one first, which is how many calls do we expect per day? Once we know that, then we can figure out how many call agents we have. So our current setup then is we have clients. We know these clients are going to call the call center. And then from there it's going to go to the agents. So we have to figure out how many calls do we expect are coming in. And based on that, then we can decide how many call agents we actually need to hire within our call center. Okay, so let's just complicate this a little bit. Let's say we have our current client base and we actually expect it to increase. Our marketing is doing a really good job and we expect to go from about 7 to 100 clients over the next couple of months. So now, as the industrial engineers that are running the call center, what influence will this actually have on our call center? Okay, so assuming our new clients are going to behave like our current clients, then we expect them to also phone in towards the call center. So if we're getting in a bunch of new clients, then we will also get more calls to our call center. So the number of calls that are coming in from our client base is going to increase because our client base has increased. Okay, so if the number of calls into our call center increases, that means we as industrial engineers actually have to increase the number of call center agents that we have. Okay, so the tricky part now is how do we actually calculate what effect that increase in number of agents are going to have on the number of calls that's coming into our call center. And then based on that, how do we then calculate the number of agents that we actually need for our call center? Okay, so this is the challenge that we're sitting with, and we need to address that. And the best way to address that is to look at data. More specifically, we can actually look at how many calls we've gotten in the past based on the clients that we've had in the past. Okay, so the two things that we're interested in is we can go look at our call logs in our call center, and then we can see, okay, how many clients that we have and how many calls that we get in per day. So we can look at this, let's say, for the last 30 days. So we can say we had X amount of clients over the last 30 days, and we got a certain amount of calls in per day. Okay, once we have those values, then we can calculate the percentage of clients that make calls during a day. Okay, so we can calculate that for the previous months. Then we get to a percentage. And the nice thing then is then we can go back and we can say, okay, if we're going to increase from 70 to 100, and we now know or we expect that a certain percentage of clients will make a call, then we can actually calculate what the expected number of calls is per day, given our increased client base of 100. After that, then we can just use that 5-to-1 ratio to calculate how many call agents we're going to need to keep our new 100 customers happy. Okay, so to make this a little bit more concrete, let's quickly run through a very simple example. Okay, so let's assume we looked at our records. We currently have 70 clients, as we said. And over the course of a month, they typically phone in about 35 times. So we got about 35 calls per day out of our client base of about 70 clients. Okay, so this means that the percentage of clients that made calls during a day is about 50%. So half our clients actually made calls during a day, assuming a client only made 1 call per day. Okay, so if we have 70 clients, we can expect 35 calls per day. That's what it boils down to. So it means that for every client or for every 2 clients, we can expect 1 call per day. Okay, so we can now just use this information to calculate how many agents we need. Okay, so we're going from 70 to 100 clients. So if we know for every 2 clients we're going to get 1 call, that means when we're going to 100 clients, we can expect about 50 clients per day to actually call in. Okay, so we can expect 50 calls per day. So that's simply number of new clients, 100, multiplied by 50%. Okay, now the next step is we can just use that ratio to calculate how many call agents we need. Okay, so the ratio is 5 to 1. Meaning for every 5 calls, we need 1 call center. So the number of call center agents we need is 50 divided by 5, which is equal to 10. Okay, so if our client base increases from 70 to 100, it means we will need 10 call center agents. So all we have to do now is we just need to check how many call center agents we currently have, and then increase that to 10. Then that should make our clients fairly happy. Okay, so this is a very sort of simplified way of doing it. There's a lot of simplifying assumptions underneath it, but the logic stays the same. The process that we're going to follow in the case study when we're looking at the actual data is going to stay the same. So we're going to calculate more or less the same things to come to the answers. Okay, so some of the complications we're actually going to look at with a case study is that not all calls necessarily require an agent. Customers can help themselves by using that number prompts, following this number prompts, and this will actually influence how many agents we need. Okay, so if all the customers just follow the number prompts when they phone in, then we don't need any agents. Great, but that's never the case. Some people still want to talk to an agent. Okay, the second complication is there are different types of clients. So we don't treat all our clients the same. We have our typical platinum, gold, and silver clients. So we want to treat the platinum clients really well because they're spending a lot of money with us. And we want to treat the gold clients fairly well. And the silver clients is, we just don't want them to leave, that's all. Okay, so, and each one of those client types needs its own staff ratio for the call center. So we want more agents to be available for platinum clients. So we don't want our platinum clients to wait at all. Whereas our gold clients, they can wait a little bit for available agents. And our silver agents, that's fine. They can wait a few minutes for available agent. Okay, so that is 2 major complications we're going to look at. And the last one, and this is a very important one, is we're going to look at call variability. So we can't assume that the amount of calls per day from our different clients and that require agents are going to be constant. That varies. So the tricky part then is, given this variability in terms of how many people phone in and how many actually need an agent, how do we take that into account to decide on what should the perfect staffing ratios be for our call center?